Welcome to the Substantive Change Update Training for Peer Evaluators, sponsored by Registry. Before we begin, we would like to take a moment to recognize the sponsor of today's webinar, the Registry. The Registry is a premier interim placement firm in American higher education. The increasing demand for registry interim is being driven in part by the need to engage veteran senior administrators and executives who can help institutions to define, to shape, and to achieve a more resilient and sustainable future. In addition to supporting today's webinar, the Registry will be joining us as a gold sponsor at the 2022 MSCHE Annual Conference this December 7 through 9 in Philadelphia, PA. Thank you, the Registry. On behalf of the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, we would like to welcome you to this webinar. I am Carmen Scott, Assistant Director for Substantive Change, and co-presenting with me today are Camilla Smith, Vice President for Accreditation Services, and Dr. Sean McKittrick, Vice President for Institutional Field Relations. The learning objectives for today are to identify the different types of substantive change reviews and expectation for review, and to identify the changes to federal regulations which impacted the substantive change procedures and forms. Now we will play a pre-recorded video. After the video, we will have Q&A. Welcome to the Substantive Change Update Training for Peer Evaluators. This PowerPoint presentation is made available to all institutions as a resource during the application, candidacy, and accreditation processes, as well as for the peer reviewers. Permission is granted to colleges and universities within the jurisdiction of the Middle States Commission on Higher Education to utilize this recording as needed for the purpose of compliance activities. As a reminder, the information provided in this presentation is the property of the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, and the reproduction, distribution, or transmission of the presentation, in part or in whole, is expressly prohibited without prior written consent from the Commission. For permission requests, email the Commission at president@msche.org. I am Carmen Scott, Assistant Director for Substantive Change at MSCHE, and I will share updates on the policy and procedures related to substantive change. The policy was implemented on August 1st, 2022, and is available at the Commission's website at msche.org. The presentation, specifically developed for peer evaluators, will cover the changes to policy and related procedures and provide peer review guidance along with helpful resources and key definitions within the policy. Let's begin. The substantive change policy, substantive change procedure, and substantive change guidelines were updated to provide clarification in some areas related to federal regulations. For those of you that do not know, substantive change request forms are revised on an annual basis. But when there are requirement changes, revisions could occur more than once a year. The revised substantive change review and site visit reports will be available shortly. For those of you who will be participating at the October committee meeting, we will make certain that you have the revised review form in your possession in advance of the review deadline date. The new forms will align with the revised request forms. Periodically, the U.S. Department of Education will issue guidance or communications on Title IV and federal student aid programs. USDE released guidance documents in the summer 2022 on written arrangements. The Commission is developing communications on these letters to help its member institutions understand the new guidance and expectations from the Department. Once finalized, this communication will be posted to our website. For a written arrangement review, peer evaluators are also asked to review the percentage of the program offered by the third party and institution. Then they should verify through documentation provided that the percentage is correct, that courses are correctly characterized as offered by the institution and therefore eligible for Title IV. In addition, peer evaluators must review the assignment of faculty to third party or the institution and verify that instructors are correctly assigned to the institution or third party. The form asks for a chart of faculty and staff associated with the program, including a description of their professional credentials, if they are employed by and/or compensated by the member institution or the third-party provider, and the institution's standards for faculty qualifications. Questions number 14, A through D. A faculty member may not be considered adjunct faculty of the member institution if they are compensated and/or employed by the third party. Finally, peer evaluators must verify that the institution is meeting disclosure requirements for written arrangements. This is not new for the Commission and is question number 18 in the request form. The verification of disclosure requirements is highlighted in the Dear Colleague letter, so we point it out as an important item for peer evaluators to check and verify. The Commission is required to monitor rapid growth in the number of additional locations. If an institution opens 5 or more additional locations within a fiscal year, July 1 through June 30th, it is defined as rapid growth in the number of additional locations. The Commission will visit the 6th new location that the institution establishes. If the institution submits more than 1 additional location at the same time, the Commission will visit 20% of the number of new locations over 5. You will notice that this question was added to the request forms that relate to new additional locations. Peer evaluators should note when the institution is experiencing rapid growth in the number of additional locations in the review form. Consider the institution's capacity for each new additional location you are reviewing in light of that growth. The Commission staff will monitor the locations that require site visits and ensure that the action language directs the visit. Institutions must provide documentation or a status update on its progress of any required approvals from all necessary licensing, regulatory, or other legal entities. During your review, you will need to document whether the required documentation was included in the request and what was inadequate or missing. Documentation must be included when approval is not required or that an approval is in progress if required. The institution may provide correspondence with the agency stating that approval is not required. The institution may also provide a copy of regulation or statute that states that approval is not required, or it may provide documentation that an approval was submitted and is in progress. The Department of Education has released guidance documents in December 2022 on institutions seeking approval of a request to change or add accrediting agencies. If the substantive change involves changing the institution's primary accreditor or adding dual accreditation, the Commission must have written documentation that the institution has obtained the approval of the United States Department of Education before it will include the change within the institution's scope of accreditation. The Commission may rescind the substantive change if the approvals are not received. Review all required approvals. Document in the review form which approvals have been received. If necessary, request additional information to understand the status. The outstanding approvals will be included in the action. Institutions that are participating in the Title IV student financial aid programs with the United States Department of Education and intend to apply for Title IV must provide documentation to verify that the program or location is certified for Title IV participation. The Eligibility and Certification Approval Report is a form of verification. Peer evaluators are asked to review the e-CAR and verify if the institution intends to apply for Title IV. If so, the Commission must receive an updated e-CAR when it is available. The institution must provide the updated e-CAR as follow-up. The Commission must have the verification on file, so it will be requested in the action. Resources related to substantive change and other pertinent information and forms are referenced on the Commission's website. If you think of any questions after this event, please contact me directly. Thank you once more for listening to this training. To close, we would like again to thank our sponsor, the Registry, for bringing us today's webinar. You can learn more by visiting the Registry's booth in the exhibit hall at the 2022 MSCHE Annual Conference this December 7th through the 9th. Thank you once more for listening to this training.
Thank you all.